Well, good afternoon. It's, oh my gosh, it's 4 o'clock. Now, Kevin and I were over here working on this bike at 8 o'clock this morning. And, okay, so it's a convoluted tale, but let's just hit the high points and then I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah.
All right, so anyway, while I was working on the vent for the sump on this bike, Kevin went through and did a beautiful job of re-cleaning and getting the carbonizers ready to go. So they're done. Now over here, we've got this whole thing, this whole starter assembly installed mechanically. I mean, it's there. All we have to do now is the electrics, which we sort of planned on doing this morning and never got to.
Yeah.
We got so hot and so tired that I bailed out of here after about 2 hours and went home and slept 3 hours. It was so exhausting. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what I was working on while he was working on those carbs. Okay, so here's the back side of the starter, and there sits the whole unit, and this is the starter solenoid / Bendix gear actuator, and let's go ahead and pull these. We're going to pull this out of the way so I can show you the vent that I worked on.
You tell them it looks. There should be a what do you call it? L joint vent, and unfortunately, the folks from England sent us a straight up one, and there wasn't enough space in there to use that. So that's why Frank had to work on creating something that would fit so that we could vent it.
Yeah, and theoretically this is a temporary fix, so we can actually start the bike when we put the cabling into the starter and the starter switch. We're going to try to use the starter switch up here on the handle and see if we can make that one work. Okay? All right. So the whole unit's held in by 2 long bolts. It's a very nice installation. Now right now, we have about 1/8 of an inch clearance between the starter motor Bendix unit and this little vent that I built down here. Now we stuck this on, we don't know if we'll use it or not, but this is the vent that I spent
2 hours.
2 hours fitting, fondling, trying, measuring, cutting down, grinding, putting in spacers, taking it apart, starting over again. It took me forever to make this thing. Now this part comes out, and if it works, and if we have to leave it, I will put a spring hook on here and here so that there's a spring holding it in. Okay, so I'll do something to secure it in, because this can't stay here, because this has to unscrew. And it's unscrewed. It's sitting on a thick copper washer with a couple of spacing washers, and this elbow is cut really short and soldered into the bolt. Now, do you have the one that Roger showed us that we started with, the example?
Yeah.
We went down to Roger's house and got several different types of bolts that will fit into this hole. Which one did we start with? I think it was this one.
That one.
This one. I ended up cutting the head off of it to make a flat bolt, cutting the threads down a little bit so it doesn't go as far into the case, just in case it would hit something. So you can actually see this part down here, right about where the solder is. And underneath of it is a really thick rubber copper washer, and below that are 2 or 3 flat washers. Now the reason being is that with this removed, you still have to have clearance to turn this one, rotate it to put it in. And this part strikes here and it strikes here. So the clearances while putting this together are really close. So we're hoping that the manufacturer has a banjo bolt that'll go straight in with a banjo on it to the side with a very small, thin nut to hold it all together. Other than that, this could actually become permanent. I mean, there's no real reason why we can't leave this in here, because the next guy who has to use this timing mark can simply unscrew this, because it does screw in and out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time, look at the cut on the back of this is where the gear is inside on the clutch hub, and the drive motor on this, the spline is here, and when the Bendix operates, it pushes this out to engage. Hold this down steady while I pull on this. It pushes it out to engage the clutch, and then it pops back when you let go. It's like an automobile starter with a engaging Bendix gear. And so it's a beautiful setup. And that was the scariest part, cutting that opening. And then the most traumatic, most difficult part is the effort I put into this. And we were working out here. It had to be 100 degrees in here.
Oh, it's over 100 degrees this morning.
This morning. And trial cut, fondle fit, trial cut, fondle fit, grind down, fondle fit. Wore me out. I mean, it wore me out. And like I said, I went home, laid down and slept for 3 hours. So anyway, that's where we are. And I just thought I'd show it to you because it's kind of cool. And we're not sure we're going to use this, but it sort of fits on here really nice. And with the flat side down, it could be attractive. So we'll make that decision. We'll make that decision pretty soon. It does fit underneath of the motor just fine. Mm-hmm. And we can just run this right out here, right along the top of the swinging arm, and like that. It wouldn't. It would be kind of cool. We'll make that decision when we get everything put together. Hopefully, we will be back on the bike next Tuesday morning. Tomorrow's Monday. Kevin's tied up all day. I've got things to do. And anyway, this is just to bring you up to date as to what we've been doing and what we did this morning. Because I was so tired and worn out, I forgot to take any video whatsoever. Okay, so that's it. We're done. I'm going back home.